a former Secretary of State, lied to Congress about her illegal email scheme, risk innocent American lives, and bring dishonor onto our government. In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information. Those laws are already protected, we thought, but perhaps everybody is wrong. Perhaps all of those that have served jail time were wrong.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump from yesterday. Joining us now to talk about, well, the big shakeup and everything else is John Sununu, former governor of the great state of New Hampshire, former chief of staff to George H.W. Bush, and author of really the book on the aforementioned president, The Quiet Man, the indispensable presidency of George H.W. Bush. Governor, good to talk to you again, sir.
Nice to talk to you, Steve. How are you?
I'm well. All right. So, you know, you never know. You wake up in the morning. What's going to happen? It applies certainly to the Trump campaign. So what do you make of the moves made with Stephen Bannon and with Kellyanne Conway?
Well, I think Kellyanne is a sharp political mind. She'll add a lot. If she has some real capacity to help make decisions there, I think she'll add a lot to the process. She understands polling. She understands assessing what voters are thinking, and she understands the segmentation of voting blocks. So I think it's a positive move.
And as far as Stephen Bannon?
Well, he'll continue to try and add sharpness to the rhetoric, but I think Kellyanne's is the most important piece of the move.
And you know, the media is talking about this as a demotion to Paul Manafort. Do you see it that way?
No, I just think as you go into a campaign, you have to add additional talent, and I think that's what they went ahead and did.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on to what Donald Trump said specifically last night. You know, John, Governor, he gives a great speech on race and the problems that the black community is facing in this country. And the first thing after the speech that the media, especially CNN, which is what I was watching after the speech, says is, but he said that to a white audience. Why didn't he say it to a black audience? Well, you know what? He was saying it to millions of people who were watching live and on cable and elsewhere. So what do you make of what he said, and what do you make of how the media responds to this?
You know, that's CNN saying that their audience is segregated. It's ridiculous. Look, he gave a speech that outlined a commitment to recognizing the need to bring opportunity to parts of our country that really have not been helped very much, particularly in the last 8 years economically and in terms of personal security. And I think his message in the long run will be received well. It's going to have to be repeated a number of times. One speech doesn't do the whole thing. And if he keeps repeating that and putting the right emphasis on it, I think he may begin to surprise people at the kind of support he'll get in voting blocks that may historically not have supported him.
Now, I guess what you were saying was CNN, by saying that he wasn't reaching out to getting through to the black community, is that they don't have many black viewers, right?
Yeah, that's what they're trying to say. That the only implied in their question is the fact that they made it sound like the only people that watch CNN are white voters instead of white voters and black voters.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, you know, they also chose this morning to show a poll, an NBC News poll, which you and I know is ridiculous, and they have to know is ridiculous, showing as a precursor to the story and criticizing him for not saying this in Milwaukee as opposed to where he did, that this NBC News Wall Street Journal poll shows that Donald Trump has 1% of the black vote, which is insane. I've never seen another poll that showed that, but they picked that poll. Do you believe that you know, he could do well with the African American community? I mean, relatively speaking.
If he makes an aggressive effort to give a strong economic message and a personal security message and a clean up the mess in our inner cities message, I think he'll have a chance at getting a better turnout than some of the Republican nominees in the past have. But he's going to have to work at it. It's not going to come after just one speech.
All right. Now, what about Hillary? You know, now we know that the FBI has kind of released these. They didn't have a videotape of her interview when they did it with her. They didn't take a transcript of it. So they've released notes, but they've redacted many of the notes. I mean, and now we have all these all these things that normally, Governor, would be huge, huge news as far as, pay for play, as far as the Justice Department turning down the FBI request to investigate the Clinton Foundation, et cetera, right on down the line, her health, et cetera. And there's nothing. She seems to just skate, and no press conference for the better part of a year.
Oh, look, Steve, the message that she's got an honesty problem is beginning to sink in. Just 2 days ago, they asked the governor of New Hampshire, a Democrat governor of New Hampshire, Maggie Hassan, if she thought Hillary was honest 3 times.
Right. And
3 times she refused to give an answer. So in that exchange, there were 2 losers. One, Hillary, because it is clear that even her closest supporters know that there's a lack of honesty in the game. And the other loser was Maggie Hassan. She was unprepared for prime time. She was incoherent with her answers. The only thing she could say is what she had been handed as answers on 3x5 cards by her staff earlier in the day. She made it sound like she just couldn't deal in a straightforward way to answer a question, not just for the country, but particularly for her New Hampshire supporters as to what her position is vis-a-vis Hillary. She supports Hillary, but 3 times she refused to acknowledge that Hillary was honest.
Very, very true. I will not ask you about anything about the debates because I know we will have you back before that date in September. So listen, have a great rest of the pre-Labor Day summer, and we'll speak to you soon. Stay well, my friend.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Steve. Have a great day and a great evening.
All right, you too.